This story is of an intelligent thief named Berlin who steals with his friends wisely. It starts by showing Berlin, whose third wife was also divorcing him and leaving because of it. He breaks down a lot and was sad because no one has ever accepted him. No one loves him. Now, in the meantime, the Berlin team also comes, who take him away by sitting in the car with them because now they have to do their robbery. There were 4 other people in the team except Berlin. One girl was a hacker. One boy was a lock master. He used to break all kinds of locks very easily. The third was an old man. He was a professor and was very intelligent. He was so smart that he used to plan all these thefts. That which theft, when, where, and how to do. One is the sit light man, who used to handle the sit lights very well. In addition to this, he was also good at weapons. He also knew how to fight very well. The 5 become police officers and reach a very grand place where the rich were having dinner. They come to a rich man and show him a fake warrant and says, "We have received this news that you smuggle a lot of expensive things. That's why we came to search your safe." That's why the rich man takes Berlin to his safe, and Berlin tells him that we are not any police officers. In fact, we have come here to take that precious bowl of old times, which is with you. Now, because the rich man did not want to fight, so he quietly gives the bowl to Berlin, and when they start leaving from here, a boy says, "You are not police officers from anywhere." Because of this, Berlin is very angry. He took the boy out on the pretext and makes him cry so much that he came to his knees. He says to Berlin, "Please leave me. I made a mistake." Berlin tells him not to try to be smart in front of everyone. "Otherwise, I will blow your head with one bullet. I also know that you are doing all this to show your friend that you are such a big hero. Whatever you are, stay in front of him. Stay with him lovingly, because there is nothing more than love in this world." After that, the next day, they go to a hotel where they are going to plan all their theft. Berlin includes another girl in his team who is an engineer. Someone had also cheated this girl. Because of this, she became mentally weak. Now, because she was much better than before, she had come to support him in theft. After this, Berlin and the professor tell everyone about their plan. They tell that with the help of this cup, we are going to steal 44 million jewelry. Everyone understands this plan, and the next day they went to a church to meet a father. Berlin tells the father that I am a professor, and these are all my students. We have done a research. When we found out that there is a lot of treasure under your church, we want to dig here so that we can see if there is treasure here or not. Hearing this, the father becomes happy, because if there is really treasure here, then the church will benefit a lot from it. The father takes them to the basement and allows them to dig here. Now, the truth was that there used to be a tunnel under this church, which used to open by going to the largest auction house in Paris. After a few days, there was going to be an auction of very expensive jewelry, which had to be kept in different vaults of the locker room there, and their plan was to steal all the vaults. Anyway, Berlin tells his friends that the hotel where we are staying, there is also the house of the director of the auction house right in front of it, who lives there with his wife. We have to somehow go to his house and install CCTV cameras all over the house so that we can keep an eye on him. After a while, when the director of the auction house leaves with his wife, they quietly enter his house and fit the cameras all over the house. Berlin and the professor were keeping an eye on the director of the auction house and his wife through the cameras. When the professor sees that Berlin is worried, he encourages him. He says, "Don't worry, one day you will find a very nice girl. Look at us. Me and my wife have been together for 25 years. We love each other very much. We have never thought of separating from each other." Hearing this, Berlin says, "I agree, but this world is deceitful. There is nothing like true love here." Now, when Berlin was keeping an eye on the director of the auction house and his wife alone, he sees that after his husband went to sleep, his wife left the house with her dog. Then Berlin follows her. When she goes to the bar, Berlin also follows her. He sees that the director's wife is singing in the bar. Berlin likes her a lot as he sees her. He also likes her voice very much. That's why he thinks of getting her. The next day, when the church priest comes here, everyone tells him that we have found a very precious bowl from under your church. In fact, it was the same bowl that he had stolen first. They deliberately put the bowl under the ground here so that the father would feel that there is really a treasure here. Seeing it, there is no place for the father's happiness. That's why he allows him to dig more. The next day, Berlin, the director's wife of the auction house named Camille, starts trying to make friends with him. Following him, he goes to a hotel and starts talking to him. He tells him his fake name and says, "I have have come here to visit Paris. I heard your song in the bar last night, which I really liked. He had also deliberately brought Camille's favorite book here. Seeing this, she asks him, do you read this? Berlin says yes. I like it very much, but Camille leaves without giving any answer here. Berlin thinks that maybe I have made a mistake. That's why she doesn't want to make friends with me. While digging, they find a tunnel. That's why she starts digging further to reach their destination, that auction house. When Berlin listens to Camille, she finds out that she had a fight with her husband because she wanted to go to a show with her husband, but her husband was not going. So now Berlin wears nice clothes so that he can go with her. While digging, the father comes to the basement and says, I want to take that precious cup so that I can show my university professor that we have got this from here. Somehow he starts taking the cup from there and they can't stop him. When Berlin found out about this, he got very angry. He says to the lockmaster, this is your responsibility, get that cup from the father somehow, while he goes to meet Camille. He reaches her and asks Camille that, where are you going? When she says, I am going to watch the show, Berlin also gets ready to go with her. There, the lockmaster and the engineer girl sit on the bike and leave to snatch that precious cup from the father. When they were running away after snatching the cup, some of the father's friends come here and stop them, but they somehow start running away with the cup. The father's friends also start following them. The lockmaster and the engineer girl go to the parking area and hide, but the father's friends find them and snatch the cup from them. Because of this, both of them got very scared. They run away from here quickly, that there is some other problem before this. When Berlin and Camille came back at night, we notice that they have become very close to each other, means they have become good friends. That's why they exchange their numbers. The next morning, the satellite man goes to the hacker's room to ask her for help. Along with that, he also tries to befriend her, but the hacker shows him that she is strict. But inside, she also started liking the satellite man. Now the professor comes to the lockman and the engineer girl, who were very scared. The professor reassures them that now there is no need to be scared, because when you snatched the cup from the father, he got very scared. That's why now he has quietly handed over the cup to me, saying that I will not come to the basement again, and you continue your digging. There, Camille comes to meet Berlin, but there was a problem for Berlin here. He could not take her to the room, because if Camille had come inside, he could have been caught by looking at the computer setup. He tells Camille that we will talk here. I can't take you inside because you are married. If someone sees us, it won't be good. Hearing this, Camille felt bad. She gets angry and leaves from there. Seeing this, Berlin also felt very bad. That's why he also follows her. He comes in the lift and hugs her to convince her, and here their relationship begins. The next day, they dig again and reach where they wanted to reach, means right next to the auction house, but there was a very strong wall ahead, which was made of iron blocks. So here the professor tells them the plan how to get inside. He says first we will cut the blocks finely, then attach those blocks to the car very cleverly so that we can install it whenever we want and remove it whenever we want. There are always two guards in this building. One guard is inside, who always stays in the control room, and his eyes are always on the computer screen. The second guard is outside, who looks at the things outside. Now, first of all, they have to distract the guard outside so that the hacker girl hacks their computer system. Here, the satellite man notices that both the guards eat a lot of pizza. They order pizza every other day. That's why he becomes a pizza delivery boy and takes the wrong order. On it, the guard starts arguing with him. That's why the satellite man also starts making him angry. Their argument has increased so much that the guard also calls the other guard to fight. And taking advantage of this, the hacker girl hacks their computer system. Means now she can control all the cameras. Now Berlin starts telling his team the plan again, and they go back to that tunnel. They start cutting the blocks of that wall with a very thin wire. They put a magnet there and raise it a little, and finally come to the locker room. Here are all the safes in which there will be jewelry. That means their plan was going on perfectly so far, and now they just had to wait for the goods of the auction house to come, in which all those jewelry will also be there, which were later kept in these safes, and in this way, they could easily steal all the safes. Now, along with the planning of this theft, Berlin's love story also starts with Camille. He was giving half of his time to this plan, while half was given to Camille, but one day Camille's husband sees both together. But Berlin tells Camille's husband that, I am an artist and wanted to meet your wife. That's why I came here today, but after her husband's departure, Camille tells Berlin that I am scared. What if my husband finds out about us? Berlin says, let's go to a place where there is no one except us. That's why they both go to a hotel and spend time together, while the professor and the rest of the people are in their hotel. Here, the professor's wife calls him and says, now, I don't want to live with you because you don't give me time at all. Hearing this, this, the professor becomes astonished. He was surprised and worried, thinking that my wife loved me so much. I never thought that she would leave me. And now how can she do this to me? Obviously, this is why the professor was shocked. Then looking at his face, the engineer girl understands that surely his wife has divorced. Now the satellite man tells the lockmaster that, tell me, where did you keep my bike? Because when you went to steal a bowl from your father, I didn't see my bike after that. On this, the hacker girl tells him everything, that while stealing the bowl, we were also attacked. That's why the bike was left there, and now I'm scared, because if that bike is caught, then we will also be caught. The reason is that the passport on which that bike is real. Hearing this, the lockmaster gets even more scared and says the bike is definitely with the father's goons. At night, the engineer girl comes to the professor and says, I know you are sad because I know how it is to break a heart. The professor says, I never thought that my wife would leave me one day. The engineer says, I think there is some other reason behind this. Definitely your wife is having an affair with someone else. That's why she wants to leave you. Hearing this, the professor was quite surprised, but he starts investigating about this. Soon he found out that this is true. My wife is really with someone else. When Berlin and Camille were together, Camille's husband calls her and says, I was on leave today and I have read all your emails. I have found out that you are having an affair with someone else. Hearing this, Berlin was not surprised. In fact, he was happy. Now Camille will accept me and leave her husband. But Camille says, I can't leave my husband. I love him very much. I can't leave you either. I like you too, but I can't leave my husband because of you, because I am only a friend of yours while me and my husband are making plans for the child. Hearing this, Berlin breaks again, because today Camille also cheated him. That is, even today, he did not get true love. That's why when he was leaving, he calls the lockmaster and tells him that Camille's husband is a cunning man, and now I will teach him a lesson. Now Camille's husband goes to the locker room of his auction house and starts keeping the coming goods in the safe, while Berlin and his team were also ready to steal them all. As Camille's husband keeps all the things in the safe, that team also moves forward to execute their plan. One by one, whatever was in the safe, they start stealing it all. Here Professor was sad because his house was broken while Berlin was cheated once again. He was angry because of this, so here both of them argue with each other. When by mistake, one thing fell there, which created a noise, and this noise is heard by Camille's husband, the director of the auction house. That's why he tells the guard to go quickly check in the locker room if anyone is there. When the security guard came to check there, they quickly hid there, so the guard could not see them. He thinks that everything is fine here. Now these people also steal all the safes cleverly and leave from here quietly. Now they plan that we will remove everything here and will also clean it so that no one ever doubts that we have come here and we have stolen this. Now, although they were wearing such clothes that their hair could not fall here, but still they clean here so that no evidence should remain here and the police should not reach them. At night, Berlin goes to Camille's husband's house with the lockmaster. Here, they also make him conscious by giving him a medicine. Later, they remove the cameras from his entire house. Then Berlin tells the lockmaster that from now on, we will all stay in separate hotels and no one will come out, because if anyone comes out, then we can be caught. That means for one night they have to hide underground from everyone and live separately. Saying this, he sends the lockmaster from here, while he wears Camille's husband's clothes and goes to his farmhouse and the jewelry that he had stolen. He cuts one locket out of them and spreads it all over the house, so that when the police come here to inquire, they feel that Camille's husband has stolen or has supported the thieves in the theft. Now actually here, Berlin was doing all this to take revenge with Camille's husband by trapping him so that he gets trapped and his wife Camille comes to me and our relationship becomes the same as before. Now after coming out of the locker room, they also welded that wall firmly so that there is no evidence left here. Then they made the whole tunnel the same as before. Then they completely removed their control from all the cameras and systems so that there is no space for doubt. At night, the satellite man comes to meet the hacker girl and says, I can't leave Paris right now because if the police reach the bike, they will also reach my passport. I went to the office to steal my passport, but there were alarms everywhere. That's why I didn't steal the passport, and now I need your help to get my passport. Hearing this, the hacker girl says, but I can't go with you. Berlin had forbidden me to go out. Hearing this, the satellite man says, but I have to do this because if my passport is caught by the police, then we and our theft will be caught anyway. So come with me quickly. Hearing this, the hacker girl also agrees to help him. They both make an excuse from their companions and leave from there. While the lockmaster comes to the engineer girl's room, the engineer girl asks the lockmaster, how is the tattoo on your finger? On it, they both smiled at each other because they also like each other. The hacker and the satellite satellite man reach the office. The hacker hacks the system here and tries to get his passport out, but the security guard sees them and asks, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" Then the hacker says that I am the new worker here, but then more workers come here who start answering questions from the hacker. Meanwhile, an error appears on the hacker's computer, means there was a problem in getting the passport out. Seeing this, the guard says to the hacker, "You will have to restart the computer." Now to do this, when the guard goes under the table, he sees the satellite man there, who was hidden. Now on one side, the hacker was deleting his passport while the guard points a gun at the satellite man. He asks, "Who are you both and what are you doing here?" The satellite man throws something at him and hits him, causing his gun to fall down. The hacker quickly picks up the gun and points it at him. She lies to him that we are thieves and have come here to steal. They both take some money from him and run away from here. They were very happy about this. The lockmaster and the engineer went to a bar where a lot of rich people had come, so from here they think of stealing their car. The security guard does not let them go inside. They cleverly steal a couple's car and run away from there. The lockmaster takes the engineer girl to a place where a car race was taking place. So the lockmaster challenges a man there and says, "If I lose this race, then I will not give you my car, and if you lose, then you will have to give it to me." The engineer girl has also brought a stolen necklace here. She wanted to wear it, but the lockmaster was stopping her from doing so, saying that wearing it here will not be safe. On it, the engineer says that I have seen such an expensive locket for the first time in my life. I really want to wear it, but if you are stopping me, then I will wear it later. Saying this, she kept the necklace in her pocket. Now in this race, girls were also made to stand on top of the car. Means a girl was standing on a car. The car is driven at speed. As the race started, the engineer girl had a lot of fun because she was standing on top of the lockmaster's car. That's when the engineer girl's phone started ringing. When she checked, it was her old friend's phone. Seeing this, she was surprised. She gets emotional and asks the lockmaster to stop the car. He also stops the car without thinking and lost this race. The engineer girl starts crying a lot. That's why the lockmaster takes care of her. Because of losing the race, the lockmaster has to give the car to another boy. After that, he takes the engineer girl and leaves. He takes her to the airport and makes her sit in a plane. He started asking, "What happened that you stopped the car?" She tells that I got a call from my old friend. I started missing him as I saw it and I started crying, so I had to stop the car. She started telling her story, that my old friend was a very good person and was a famous singer. I was a fan of him. I liked him a lot and used to listen to his songs all the time. One day when that singer saw me, we became a couple. I was very happy to become a couple with him. Everything seemed like a dream to me because I was a fan of him, used to like him, and today I became his friend. Then this relationship got so big that I fell in love with him. I fell in love with him so much that it crosses the limits, and because of it, I started doing weird things. Whenever I used to see his posters, I used to get very excited and started doing weird things. After seeing all that, my mom and dad thought that I was going crazy, so they sent me to a mental hospital. After telling her story, she started crying, but the lockmaster consoled her. He says, "Now I am going to do something big to cheer you up." After starting the plane, he tells the engineer that he has never flown a plane before. "Today, for the first time, I am going to do this in front of you." Saying this, he flies the plane. Both of them felt good, but after a while, the engineer tells him to stop the plane quickly. He did this, and both of them started laughing. When they came out, the engineer girl started checking her pocket. She said, "Oh my God, I don't have that necklace in my pocket, which means it left in the same car." When Berlin went to the hotel, Camille also came to meet him. She said, "I like you too, but I can't leave my husband because I love him." Berlin said, "But this won't work. You will have to choose one of us." Anyway, the detective is hired to solve this case. She goes to the same locker room with her team, but she doesn't find any evidence here through which they could be caught. Then the next day, they all shift to different places with stolen goods as Berlin had planned. After this, he had planned that we will meet at one place later. The police has also arrested Camille's husband because all the suspicion was on him. Now from this team, only the satellite man and hacker girls are shown who had made their appearance exactly like tourists and have kept stolen goods in their bags, and because no policeman checks the tourist's bag, that's why they are sent ahead. Both sat in a bus to go to their destination. After that, Professor, Engineer, and Lockmaster leave in a van. Here, Engineer and Lockmaster had played the role of siblings, while Professor had become their dad, and if the police had caught them, they also had a fake ash where they will tell the police that we are going to flow our mother's ash in the river. When Camille came back to her house, she was very surprised to see the police here. When the detective tells her that your husband is involved in a theft, that's why he was arrested. Then the detective went to Camille's husband to interrogate, but he was saying the same thing again and again, that I didn't steal. Camille calls up Berlin and calls her home and tells him everything, that her husband is trapped. Then here Berlin gives him courage, that you don't worry at all, I am with you. Camille says my husband can't do such a thing. There must be someone else behind this, who is just trying to trap my husband. That's why now I will get my husband released, who is completely innocent. While the police had also blocked everywhere. They had stopped the roads so that no one could get out of here. When the three of them sit in the van and reach a place where there is a blockade, then the police start investigating them. According to the plan, the lockmaster and the engineer tell that we are going to flow our mother's ash in the river, but the police do not believe them. They say, show us this ash first, then we will let go of here, but the engineer girl runs away with the ash bottle. The police started following her, and when they hold her and looks at the bottle, then there was really ash in it. Then the police believed that these people were telling the truth, and in this way, we are doing wrong with them and the corpse. Thinking this, the police let them go. The professor calls the hacker girl and tells that the police have blocked everywhere. That's why you two get off at the next stop quickly. Then walk ahead and try to get out of here, and they do the same. They get off at the next stop. Meanwhile, the satellite man tries to talk to the hacker girl because he liked her, but the hacker girl scolded him. There, the three of them, i.e. the professor, the engineer, and the lockmaster, park their van at a place in front of which there was a house. There used to be a woman in the house who saw the professor and liked him. The lockmaster calls Berlin and asks where you are. Berlin told that I am still in Paris. Here the lockmaster tells him the truth, that we have lost one of the stolen necklaces. We have made a big mistake, that we went out despite you forbade us. Hearing this, Berlin says the necklace must have been caught by the police by now, through which they will reach us means we are going to be caught soon. Berlin got angry at his behavior, but he forgives him and starts telling the rest of the plan. Then Berlin comes to Camille and gives her some money so that she can hire a good and expensive lawyer for her husband. Seeing this, Camille was happy that Berlin is such a good person. He is supporting me in such a difficult time. While investigating the police, the racers reach the car driver and ask him, what is this necklace doing with you? Then the driver tells that a boy came here with his friend to race with me, and we found this necklace in his car. It is known that the car he had brought didn't belong to him. The police asks the identification of that boy. Then the driver says there is a tattoo on his finger. After leaving his wife, the professor was still worried that the woman in front of him came who offers alcohol to drink. After drinking alcohol, the professor got intoxicated. That's why he immediately calls his wife and says, I know you are cheating me. That's why you want to leave me. Hearing this, his wife was very shocked. She says, okay, forgive me, there is nothing like that, and I just love you, but the professor still gets very angry at her. Now a woman was also sitting at a distance. The one who gave the professor alcohol, she heard all this. When the hacker girl went to the forest to do the toilet, a poisonous snake bit her foot. She starts screaming and calls the satellite man for help. That's why he runs quickly to help him. He cuts her foot with the knife and sucks out her blood. He saw that the hacker girl's tongue was swelling. He becomes worried that something might happen to her, so he picked her up on his back and left from there so that someone could help. Now, 2 more female inspectors are hired to investigate the case. Both are talking to each other that whoever the thieves were, they were smart. They stole very finely here. They did not leave any evidence here. Because of this, it is very difficult to catch them, but whatever happens, we will catch them. Camille goes to meet her husband in jail with Berlin. She started telling him that this is my friend Berlin, who is ready to give us money so that we can hire a good lawyer for your case. On it, her husband first refuses, but on her request, he agrees. The satellite man came to the road with the hacker girl, where the police car stops in front of them. When he asks for help, the police take him to the hospital. The professor will return his bottle to that woman's house. She says, I have heard all your talks. Your wife is cheating on you. So now, if you want, you can befriend me. On this, the professor was happy, and they start talking to each other. The lockmaster and the engineer were catching fish. So, because of the suspicion, the police followed them and came here. The police were watching them constantly. They hug each other. The police were very surprised to see this because they said, we both are siblings. And now, when the lockmaster puts hand on his head, the police see a tattoo on his finger, so here the police believe that he is also one of those thieves. Camille's friend comes to meet her. When Camille told her that, my friend Berlin is here, who is very nice, and he is helping me to get my husband released. Hearing this, her friend becomes surprised and says to Camille, "This is very strange to think about. He is your friend, but still he is helping you to get your husband release." When the police were taking the hacker through the ambulance, then the gun falls down from the hacker's pocket. The police was surprised to see this. Now the satellite man quickly picks up the gun and points it at the police. He started saying, "Go and sit in your car quickly, and there is no need to do anything for us." When the professor was with that woman, he peeps outside where the police were standing in front of his van. He felt that the police must have doubted us. So when the police left, he cleaned up there so that we don't get caught, and he starts preparing to leave from here. One day, Camille says to Berlin, "Look, I can't leave my husband, so it would be better for you to leave me and go away from here." The professor tells engineer and lockmaster that the police had come here and they have a doubt on us, so we should leave from here as soon as possible. After this, he calls Berlin to ask him where he is. When Berlin tells him that I am still in Paris, the professor tells him to get ready, I am coming to pick you up. And because this case was not being solved, another detective is hired here. She spreads the tattoo mark everywhere and says if anyone sees this tattooed person anywhere, then he should be arrested immediately. Now Camille's friend again comes to meet her. She asks that, "Why is all this happening in your life and how is everything happening so fast?" Camille says, "I am also worried, even I don't understand what is going on here." On it, her friend says, "I have often seen in movies that the girl's friend traps her husband, and I feel the same in your case. It is possible that Berlin is the person who has trapped your husband, and now he is pretending to help you, so that he can become a hero in front of you." Hearing this, Camille was very surprised, and she secretly steals his pass from Berlin's pocket so that she can go to Berlin's room and check whether her friend is telling the truth, because she had not seen Berlin's room yet. The professor also comes to meet Berlin, and they also start planning to leave from here. The police thought that all the thieves are still living in that hotel, so they reach there to catch them, while the rest of the police comes to their van to catch the rest. When Camille goes to Berlin's room, she becomes shocked to see the cameras and other setup here. She understood that Berlin is the thief, and he has trapped my husband. There the police was moving towards their van, in which there was the engineer and the lockmaster. When the police starts shooting at them, and they also start shooting in return, then the inspector asks them, "What have you asked for?" With this, a speaker comes out of the van, in which the lockmaster says, "We have asked you to give us 5 minutes to think." Now here we saw that they had parked their van at a place under which there was a tunnel. That's why they start running through the tunnel, while to mislead the police they had put puppets there, and the speaker was placed on the mic, so that they feel that they are speaking in the speaker. And now, when they went very far from here, then the police also understands that they have made them fool. They have escaped from here. When the police saw that there is a tunnel here, they also go inside it to follow them. The satellite man makes the police officer's slave and leaves while taking the hacker girl. When the lockmaster and the engineer came out of the tunnel, they see the truck standing here. They quickly ran and went on top of a truck. They hide there by wrapping a colored cloth like the color of the truck. When the police come there and investigate, they don't find them anywhere. Camille had told her friend everything about Berlin. On it, her friend says, "You quickly call the police and tell them all the truth so that Berlin is trapped and the police arrest him." Now then, Camille thought that I should also check the luggage of my husband's locker, and when she started checking his luggage, she gets pictures of her husband there with his other wife, and he was also going to have a child. Seeing this, Camille becomes surprised and worried. She thinks that her husband was cheating on her for so many years, whom I love so much. She thinks that my husband is so clever, that didn't even let me doubt. That's why now she cuts the police's phone and doesn't tell them anything about Berlin, because at this time she felt more of her husband as a criminal than Berlin. Her fiend asks Camille to blackmail Berlin, and the things he has stolen should be asked for, half share. Camille also agrees for this. Now Professor and Berlin were cleaning their own rooms, so that when the police came here to investigate, they didn't get anything. The hacker and satellite man too take the police in a boat while making them unconscious. The truck on which the engineer and the lockmaster were on, it also moves. Because of this, they were very happy, because they were sure that now we can reach our destination without any obstacle. In the meantime, Berlin calls Hacker and asks her to hack the CCTV cameras so that they can mislead the police. The hacker quickly hacked the cameras. The professor and Berlin also get into a truck and leave from there. Because of this, the police couldn't catch them at all. mall. Then from here, they take the two boys' bike on rent. Then after going a little further, they become the pizza delivery boys. They took the cycle and start climbing the mountains. They were doing this so that no police officer doubts them, and their plan was also succeeding. Finally, the hacker and the satellite man leave from there safely. The satellite man says to the hacker, "I love you very much. You were bitten by a snake. I was very worried." Hearing this, she became very happy and also expresses her love, saying, "Yes, I also love you very much." After it, they all reach their destination, which was the same. Everyone met here and happily leave from there. They did such a big theft and were very happy to succeed in it and leave from there safely. After this, we are shown the time after a few months. Berlin had not yet forgotten Camille. That's why one day when Camille came to meet him, then Berlin was very happy and tells her everything truthfully, saying, "Yes, I had trapped your husband because I love you and want to get you." Camille's friend was also outside who was recording all this because with the help of this recording, she was going to blackmail Berlin later. The police department here was also completely failed because they could not catch them, but they were sure that they would definitely steal again. That's why the police were now looking for this opportunity, that when they steal, we will catch them immediately. The next day, Camille and her friend come to meet Berlin. They start blackmailing Berlin that we have your recording and we will give it to the police, and if you want us not to do this, then give us 40% of the stolen money. Hearing this, Berlin smiled, says, "I have already stolen that recording from you because I knew you were going to do something like this, and later you will blackmail me. But really, Camille, I love you with all my heart. I did not use you at all for my benefit, and for me, money is not love. You are important." Saying this, he gives all his money to them, and he makes a deal that the next time I steal, I will give all the money to Camille. On it, Camille becomes happy and is impressed by his love. After getting the money, Camille and her friend were very happy. Here, Camille was thinking about Berlin, because now maybe she also fell in love with Berlin, and both of them become one. After a few days, the professor came to meet Berlin, where Berlin says, "It's been a long time to our holidays, so why don't we go for the next robbery?" Hearing this, the professor becomes happy and says, "It is a good idea because I am also looking forward to the second robbery. Dude, hurry up." Both of them became happy about this. Here concludes this season.